If you see a strange man in a suit like this in your backyard, never take your eyes off him, or else he will suddenly appear right in front of you the very next second. A girl jolted awake from the nightmare suddenly looks out the window, only to see a raggedly dressed, bizarre-looking man with a strange band around his head standing on the lawn in her backyard. What's terrifying is that the strange man stands almost completely still, staring at her intently. Just as the girl is feeling extremely bewildered, a phone call suddenly startles her. It turns out her father won't be home for another hour. Frightened out of her wits, the girl hurriedly told her father about the terrifying scene she had witnessed. However, her father seemed to already know about the appearance of the strange man, and kept warning her over the phone. Whatever you do, don't let him out of your sight. If you take your eyes off him, he'll appear right beside you as a ghost. How could a girl who had just turned 18 have ever encountered something so terrifying? With no other choice, she could only follow her father's instructions and keep staring intently at the strange man in the distance. But just then, the girl's younger brother suddenly burst in. She quickly signaled for him not to come any closer and told him to lock all the doors in the house immediately. However, her extremely curious younger brother completely ignored his sister's warning, and he walked over to the windowsill. He too saw the strange man in a suit standing on the lawn. The girl hurriedly warned her brother not to look away, or else their lives would be in danger. The girl, thinking she was clever, mistakenly believed that as long as one of them kept watching the strange man, nothing would happen. So she quickly went downstairs and locked every door in the house one by one. However, when the girl returned to the windowsill, the strange man who had been standing on the lawn had already disappeared from her sight. The strange thing is that in her brother's vision, the strange man in the suit is still there. Just as the girl was terrified, a sudden chill swept over her from behind. When the girl turned around again, the man in the suit had already appeared right in front of her. Frightened out of her wits, the girl grabbed her brother and said the monster had appeared, but her timid brother didn't dare to turn around at all. So the girl had no choice but to slowly move along the corner of the wall toward the door. However, at this moment, the strange man didn't attack the girl right away. Instead, he continued to stare at her intently, just as before. At this critical moment, the girl suddenly had a bold idea. Since the monster always liked to stare at her, if she could make it so he couldn't see anything, the crisis might be resolved. So, in a pet, she grabbed a roll of tape from the girl, tore off a large piece, and stuck it over the strange man's eyes. To her surprise, her gold roll actually seemed to work. However, just as she was about to send a message to her father for help, the strange man, who had been standing still, suddenly detached. Realizing the fear of the situation, the younger brother came over to check things out. The two of them immediately tried to take advantage of the chaos and pull the bag off the strange man's head, but the bag was secured with an iron chain and couldn't be removed at all. In the end, they only managed to rip off the tape and just stuck it. Just when the two were at a loss for what to do, their father, who was on his way, finally arrived. Without hesitation, he grabbed the mirror from the table and strung it toward the strange man's face. At that moment, the strange man immediately moved. However, in the very next second, the strange man turned into a cloud of black smoke and vanished before everyone. Just as everyone thought that things had finally settled down, the younger brother suddenly looked out the window and realized that the strange man he had seen was also gone. The three of them immediately felt uneasy. At that moment, the doorbell outside suddenly rang.